College football fans love to talk about tough road environments, but not every stadium lives up, not every so-called house of horrors actually lives up to the legend. Welcome back to 3rd and 23. I'm your host Alex. In this video, I'm going to break down the five of the most overrated college football environments to play in, and then how you can use that to determine whether or not you're going to pull the trigger on a bet. So let's go ahead. You see the 5 stadiums here: Penn State, Washington, Wisconsin, Auburn, and Mississippi State. Let's go ahead and get into it. Let's dive in, starting off with Happy Valley and Penn State. Now, Happy Valley, thought to be a nightmare. Obviously this is during the James Franklin era. You'd have the whiteouts, you have a packed house, packed crowd. Not often are they going to be a dog because they were a good program over this stretch, but the few times they have been, as you see, 5 times as a home underdog, their average margin of defeat in this case is -7.2, and their ATS plus or minus. So what that means is how close were they to the spread? 0.7. So what that tells you is Vegas is typically pricing Penn State correctly as a touchdown dog at home. It's probably usually an Ohio State or an Oregon, something like that in this stretch. And they've never pulled off an upset, and they lose by right around that touchdown mark. Some of these games ring a bell. It's Ohio State and Michigan a few years ago with Jim Harbaugh, when Jim Harbaugh actually was suspended for the game. So big games, you're thinking to yourself, this is a big game. Penn State is at home. It's in Happy Valley. It's going to be a packed house. Maybe I don't want to take the favorite in this one, or maybe I don't want to pull the trigger on this bet. Penn State hasn't won as a home underdog since 2021, so maybe you do want to pull the trigger on this one. Penn State, overrated. Happy Valley, overrated. Moving on to the next overrated stadium, we've got Husky Stadium in Seattle. You got to be more than a casual to understand what people talk about going to Seattle. They say going to Seattle is a tough place to play. Playing in Washington, tough place to go to. They haven't been a home dog that often either. Since 2021, they've only been a home dog 6 times, but 1-5 in that stretch. And then take a look at this: -11.2 average margin of victory. So again, in this case, margin of defeat. That means they're getting blown out. They're getting walked on while they're at home. The ATS plus or minus is -5.5. That means they're losing on average by 5.5 points more than what the spread is. So they're constantly getting blown out at home when they're going against a big power team. One of these games that comes to mind is last year was a couple years ago against Ohio State. They got walked on in that game, and they're just not performing at a high level as a home underdog. So when you're saying to yourself, well, Washington gets so and so at home, Washington's going to have some big games this year at home, and they're a popular pick this year to maybe make some noise, maybe throw a wrench into things. As you can see, they typically don't throw a wrench into anything. So Husky Stadium strikes fear, maybe not so much. Moving on to the next stadium, we got Camp Randall. Now, Camp Randall, obviously this has to do a lot with what Wisconsin is nowadays. Wisconsin is not a very good football team. They used to be a pretty good Tier 2 program. Got to jump around. Camp Randall gets jumping. That's the thought, right? They got to jump around. They got these great traditions at Wisconsin. Packed house. Since 2021, 2-7 as a home dog. Again, getting walked on. Average margin of defeat, 14.7 points a game. They're getting blown out at home. And the ATS is also by an extra 3.5 over what the spread is. So they're not even pricing it right. They're just getting blown out. Vegas isn't pricing it right, and they're getting blown out by more than what Vegas thinks. So when you're telling yourself, and maybe you're not telling yourself nowadays because as bad as Wisconsin is, but you're talking to yourself, you're saying, man, the game is in Wisconsin. Michigan's got to go to Wisconsin this week. Or Penn State has to go to Wisconsin this week. Something like that, and you're saying, man, maybe I should stay away from this. Maybe you shouldn't. 2-7 record as home, and they're typically getting blown out. So Camp Randall is no longer a tough place to play. Maybe once upon a time. All right, moving on to the SEC, and we got one that really shocked me. Jordan-Hare is a scary place to play. I've heard Nick Saban talk about how Jordan-Hare, man, crazy things happen in Jordan-Hare. It's a tough place and so on and so forth. I think you really got 2 instances: the Jalen Milroe throw at the end of the game on that 4th down, and obviously the Chris Davis return. That's really it. Since 2021, 1-11 as a home underdog. Jordan-Hare they're not pulling off upsets in Jordan-Hare. Their average loss is nearly by double digits at 9.3 points a game. Vegas is pricing it somewhat right. ATS is only -1, so it's getting close to what the spread is. So when you're looking at it and you're saying you understand that you may have to sweat it out, but more often than not, you're gonna be on the winning side. And you can even money line if you want to. You don't be afraid. Oh wow, they're going to Auburn this week. I might not want to do this game. Georgia's going to Auburn this week. Florida got a road game in Auburn this year. 1-11 record as a home underdog. I don't know if I should be afraid of going into Jordan-Hare Stadium. It's not a very tough road environment, as common or the conventional wisdom would lead you to believe. And then finally, the fifth place. Not a big program in terms of national recognition and so on, but at the end, this is more if you're not just a casual fan. Starkville's a tough place to play. You got more cowbell. That's what they say, right? You got the cowbells going. Man, that game is going to be in Mississippi State this week. I don't know. They're going to have that cowbell going. Since 2021, Mississippi State is 2-15 as a home underdog, and they are getting smashed. 15.5 point average margin of defeat. And Vegas isn't even pricing it right. They're missing by a touchdown, right? And there's a few times last season I talked myself out of this. I remember the Georgia game. Mississippi State was at home. Mississippi State had a decent record, and I'm thinking, man, let me not do. My model was telling me to take Georgia. Georgia, I believe, was a 7.5 point favorite. I said, no, let me stay away. Georgia wins by 20. It's in Starkville. End of the year, Egg Bowl. It's in Starkville. Let me stay away from it. I don't remember quite what the spread was in that game, but I'm like, let me stay away. My model's telling me take Ole Miss. They're just cover and win. Ole Miss won by around 20. They were 19 or 20 points. Blew them out as well. Starkville, cowbell. They packed the house. They're swinging the cowbells, but it doesn't really matter. They're still getting walked on when they get out there on the football field. So Starkville, Mississippi, not a tough place to play, at least according to recent history. Maybe once upon a time, but not anymore. So anyways, that wraps it up. I want to give you a quick video on 5 stadium myths out there. So when you get into this college football season and you're looking at lines and you're thinking about taking this team or that team, understand that that home environment might not be what you think it is, particularly with these 5 teams. So if you'd like to comment, please like, comment, subscribe, all of that, as you want to see more off-season videos as we continue to move towards the regular season. We are almost there, a little more than 30 days away. If you like to comment again, like, comment, subscribe, and take care.